think that Robert and Ethan, they do play test a lot, and I do
Yeah,
think that they
but, like,
know when, if you are at
listen,
this point.
You play to play. You make sure anything happens in the finals.
So we don't really know how Robert's hand was looking, but maybe that was the decision to go into game 2.
Yeah, maybe he had OT in hand or something, and he was just like, yeah, it's not really fair if I can't do it back.
Which
Mr. Drag Beta can't
which
save me this time.
here's the talk of, we said that which overtriggers are the most impactful, and by far the most explosive out of all of them is obviously GG Elder Breath.
I mean, yeah, it just wins you the game that turn if you don't have a PG.
So I like to categorize the overtriggers in. There's the most explosive, which is Elder Breath. There's the most neutral game overtrigger, which is the Stoy KO one.
That card's so good. I love that card.
Which it's one of every trigger.
Shame I never fucking hit it when I play Swagger.
So it is the neutral game overtrigger. And then we have the ones that don't really do much, which I would like to say that Drag Veda and Galamageld, they don't really do that much depending on your deck. No, it's depending on your deck.
I think Drag Veda is busted. Galamageld can go into the garbage tier over there with Martinoa, but Drag Veda is insane. Especially
I do
in
think
standard. You get a whole fresh new drive check, and it's such a whole new set of hand, especially in Nirvana where it's a triple drive deck.
Yeah, and just in my opinion, I do think that Galamageld, depending on what deck you put it in, is just doesn't have a wow factor to it when it's hit.
Galamageld is only like S tier and like Greedon.
Yeah. Galamageld is like, okay, I guess that can do damage, but when you have Drag Veda, it depends on the deck.
I will say that my Dragon Empire deck for premium is probably the best one to abuse it.
Unless you play Overlord.
Yeah, that's fair. Tachikaze gets to really abuse it on all of their strides, to be honest. The only one that it kind of sucks is Neveros will restand instantly, so if you check it on the first 3 drive checks, then it's just 100 mil, that's it. But if you check it on the second drive check, you get 3 attacks. Sorry for the silence, guys. We are talking with some of the event organizers right now. We'll be back in just a second.
So we are seeing that Vanquisher did have the privilege of going first, obviously. And so he is going to be binding full Bronto and going to be able to re-ride. We have a hyena next to me. So we are going to see that Ethan is going to 3 while Robert is at 1 damage. And we are going to 4 for the Nightmare Doll player. And we had this conversation earlier, and I'm going to unmute you real quick so you can talk along with it. But we had the conversation of how much damage do you really think you should give a Nightmare Doll player depending on your deck?
So I played Ethan earlier, and in our matchup, I don't really have the luxury of counterblast denying him or anything like that, because if I do that, then I'm just actively losing on my game plan.
Yeah, because your deck is obviously like very aggro. You can't really just be like, oh, I'm gonna ride and then pass.
Exactly. My deck is very aggressive, and Tachikaze is one of the best rush decks, if not the best rush deck in the game. Just with like Mercenary being able to come down turn 1, or you can even on grade 2 if you're playing Sweeper, just full build a Sweeper in 1 turn, giving gauges. It's a very aggressive style of deck, which is it's something that's hard to counterblast deny someone with, because then you're actively just losing all your game plan.
Yeah. Slow. So we have the Peanut Gallery over here telling us to stop the match so they can watch it on the stream. So we do see that the natural stride for the Nightmare Dolls is coming down on the Vanguard Circle, but Robert seems like he has a hefty hand to be able to deal with the comeback from Ethan.
So here we have the Alice Leslie, these girls.
The dynamic duo.
The dynamic duo that should be banned.
No, I don't.
Really banned,
so I don't think that this combo should be banned. I think the card that recalls Alice should
Jenny. Be. Ethan was talking to me about it earlier because whenever we played, he never saw Leslie until game 2. But yeah, we were talking about it, and I was like, yeah, Jenny's probably the card to hit. We could also just ban all 3 of them and call it a day. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I do think that Jenny is the card that if they did want to hit, that is the card that they would look at, because it's one thing of Alice going into the soul and calling out a card, but it's another thing for Alice to call out the card and then come back out.
Yeah, and then do that as much times as you have counterblast.
Yeah. And so we are going into the restride, obviously. And we are getting another Excel. And calling out another Leslie.
Seems good.
The thing to note as well is that this Leslie is getting 15, and then the other one has 10. So even if you hit a defensive, these Leslies are still hitting.
Yep, that's what happened to me. He hit 3 triggers against me all in 1 turn, and I'm just like, if you hit 2 triggers, I was fine for the turn. But you hit 3.
Yeah. So here we are. We are going to be guarding the first one and taking the second. And we are going to 3 with still no defensive insight.
Here we have Alice turning into Jenny, then Jenny going back to Alice.
And Alice is going to get an extra 10k from her effect. And these Leslies are going to swing once again.
I think there's also an easier way to...
we see no defensive insight, and that is going to be our finals.
Yeah, Nightmare Dolls did what Nightmare Dolls does. Sacks, and it gets the
And so Ethan Cespedes takes down Robert Garcia.
And Ethan is your champion. In just a few seconds, we'll have him over here for an interview. And he will talk to us about it.
Yeah. So we will come back to whenever we have him over here so that we can get his insights on his tournament experience and what he thought about the finals.
See you guys then.